The following interview contains graphic descriptions of real-life situations. If you have a condition easily triggered by descriptions of violence and/or trauma, it is suggested you not watch this interview. This interview is not recommended for viewers under the age of 18. Eric Loy here in the Eric Loy Interviews studio, as it is, and we're talking with Empress Rogue Red, who we're scheduling to have an interview with about VTubing, and we'll talk about that in the future. But unfortunately, there's been an event happen, and I give you all the credit in the world for wanting to come on and talk about it. I will leave it to you to describe, in your own words, what's happened to you.
Okay. It feels kind of weird now that I'm about to start talking about it.
Well, just take your time.
It's I don't know exactly how to start. So, well, I was looking up what it what it meant. So I guess I'll just start with hi, I'm Empress Rogue Red, and I'm a victim of sexual assault, and I also got abducted by I don't know who they are. Might as well be monsters now.
Well, they are, really.
I guess I could just start with like the day,
Okay.
right? So I was going to be streaming. I was gonna have a karaoke stream that day, but I didn't because well, my mom had like told me I had to go out to run some errands. I'm gonna because there's like kind of like some personal info and stuff, so I'm gonna try and
Just
like cut those sometimes.
You do whatever you need to do, and you let me know if you want me to take anything out after you say it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so I had to go run an errand and bring some stuff to my brother's place, but also because like there was some like so I'm running this group called Vorpal Sword Entertainment Syndicate, and we had we have several groups there, but mainly we do like voice acting and stuff. But I had something that I had to take care of on the coroner side, but managed to finish that pretty quickly. And I was also like finishing up on work that day. So while I was finishing up on it, I was I immediately took a shower, um, went out, and took the route I usually go. I commuted and ride the car. Um, so managed to walk all over. Um, as soon as I dropped off, and then walked over to my brother's brother's place. Said hi to my nephew. Ate ate some snacks there because I didn't really feel like up to eating lunch. It just it's typical, just asking about work and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And then I told him like I had a new job. I had to go. Um, it was gonna start in like uh probably like late at night because of I work graveyards. But so I told him I really had to go so I can catch some sleep first before I started. And he said, "Yeah, great. Thanks for bringing the stuff." He couldn't really bring me home because we have this like system here
Hmm.
where and like your the car, you know,
Right.
there's like a coding system where you can't take your car out um and drive around the roads for specific dates.
Okay.
I mean a specific day in a
Right.
week.
Right.
So and that was his day. So that's why he couldn't take me home.
Mm.
Hmm. Um so I was just gonna commute back. And it wasn't that late. I texted my mom and said that I was on my just left my brother's place. I was on my way.
Okay.
I was waiting for the jeepney, and
Take your time.
I get I like listening to music on my earphones whenever I travel, or like actually just doing mundane things at home. So I don't really hear it. I turn around and was going to walk out towards the ride. I hailed when someone pulled my bag. Like I had a backpack. Someone pulled me back. I managed to grab the like the opening when of the door from the side.
Hmm.
The like a door frame.
Right.
I don't know how to call it.
The frame,
I don't know
basically.
car.
Yeah.
I don't know car parts.
Yeah. An old
But
frame. Yeah.
so I managed to grab that, but he he was stronger, and then he put something over my mouth. And I passed out.
Mm.
I guess I guess they were like I don't I don't know how long. Like I don't know how long I was asleep,
Right.
but it was dark already. It was dark by the time I
Came to, basically.
yeah. When I came to, there was a girl in front of me. She looked much younger than I am, but she wasn't blinking, so it's really fucking haunting.
Hmm.
With her face. It wasn't that she was. It wasn't that she was like ugly or anything. She's actually really pretty, but she had like a busted lip and some bruises, and it was just her eyes terrified me, and I had to hold back like a scream.
Yeah.
She just wasn't blinking. I actually, for a moment there, I thought she was,
Mm. Right.
but she was breathing.
Okay.
Um, I couldn't make out anything. It was on my side. My face hurt. Um, and then I could just like feel like a foot, tapping, right next to, my foot. But I was just trying to think of like what was I gonna do? Where was I gonna go? Where were they taking me? What time is it? Like, does my mom know? It was just all just running in my mind, and basically just the one thing that was just going through my mind was, am I gonna die?
Hmm.
Um, I I couldn't find my bag. I was just like, just moving my eyes around, but I couldn't actually make out anything apart from that girl. And like when sometimes there's like a bit of light coming through,
Hmm.
and just
Barely.
you kind of make out like leaves or something
Right.
when it passes or something. So, and I can't find my phone.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, even my earphones, it wasn't my ears anymore. But my keys were like in my pocket. Um, I was wearing jeans and a shirt,
Okay.
and I was laying on my side, and it was just like the tapping was just getting so worse. But I didn't want to move because like I don't want him to. I didn't want him to know that I was awake. I didn't know what he was going to do to me if he found out I was awake. Um, he just kept laughing and just talking to his friend.
Hmm. At this time,
And
did you realize where you were at all?
no, I I never. I'm always like I don't really go out
Hmm.
because I always um stay at home.
Hmm.
Even when I was like in college or high school, I just even especially during college, and I was commuting to and from school.
Right.
I was I only stick to one route, the one that they taught me to go, because I have very poor sense of direction.
Hmm. So you're
Um,
so you're there.
so
You hear them talking to each other.
yeah, so we hear them talking to each other. They were just like, let's say they didn't get a lot today, which is strange. But I don't know what they were talking about up until it was like re. I felt his hands touch my leg first, and then I just it felt like all of my like the hairs on my body just like stood up. But I was just biting the inside of my lip to kind of this pretend not make a sound. I
Okay.
was just so scared he was gonna hear me.
Right.
And then he was saying something like, "Oh, let's go." This kind of loosely translate because he was speaking in our dialect. No, not dialect. No, it's
Accent.
not dialect. I don't think
A deep accent.
Tagalog is dialect. But yeah, he was speaking our language. There we go.
Yeah.
And then he was saying, "Oh, how about we check the merch?" And then he just kept like rubbing my leg, and then he was just making like he was disappointed.
Mm.
And then after he lifted my he lifted my shirt, he loved like it was like looking at her or something, and it was like, ooh, she's got a really big tit.
Oh.
Too bad she's got a lot of scars. She's not gonna be selling much. I thought she'd be. I mean, when we were scoping her out, she was really pretty.
Oh my! And you're about
And
to
then
sit and listen to this while everything else is going on. You don't even know where you are.
the girl was actually starting to tear up, but she just maybe she was also in shock. I don't know, but she was crying, but she wasn't blinking still.
Mm.
Uh, And then it was saying something like, "Yeah, we didn't get a lot. Didn't get a lot this week, but you know." He was saying something like, "I mean, they're not gonna know, right? I mean, we already tested out the other one.
Mm.
Might as well sample the bad merch." It just recoiled because, like, I bits and pieces of this is just like throughout the week. It's
Right.
just been like coming back to me, and it's just each time it just gets worse and
Worse.
worse and gets sickening. And I grabbed hold of my keys. So I have a weird keychain. Well, it's not that weird, but I've always had like a fascination, obsession. I don't know. Sorry, I was just trying to
Mm.
make myself. um, I've always liked Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
Um, I actually like have a really really huge crush still on Cloud's Drive. So when I saw online, there was like a Buster Sword keychain.
Okay.
I I just bought it immediately, and then I put it on my keys like as soon as I got it. I was so really happy about it, and it was just it's pretty it's pretty strong. I mean, the only time that it could might as well be like a really really small dagger if like the sides actually had sharpness in it, but it's blunt.
Right.
So
Right.
I just grabbed onto it. Initially, it was just kind of grabbing it because, like, I just needed something to hold on to. And
Probably holding on to it
kinda-
for everything you had at that point.
yeah. Um, but then they kind of stopped. The van just stopped moving. The driver was like, he said it was, gonna take a piss, but then I don't know if he actually went out and then ended up taking a piss or just I can't tell really.
Right.
And then there's because or and he just came back. I don't. But the other guy was just like laughing his ass off and just like saying, "Wait, wait, wait! I mean, you can have one of each. Like mm, she's got hers are pretty huge. We can share one."
Mm.
he was just laughing, and then he got on top of me. Just really wanted to hurl, and
Right.
then I just I've never I've never done that, you know.
Right.
Like I've never had a guy.
Hmm. Yeah. You don't have to explain that all out.
So I'm like, I'm kind of saving it,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So when when he was talking about that, and it was just filled with so much.
Dread. You just,
I didn't want that at all. I just didn't want it.
right.
So when he flipped me on my back, it was on top. I just started screaming, and then I used my keys, like the buster sword,
Right.
and I drove it into his eye, and I just started yelling.
Mm.
And then, like, I felt the girl sort of. It was just.
The one next to you.
I felt the other. Yeah, like I felt her sort of like she moved like a little bit, like when someone wakes up or something. And then I started yelling, and it's all like, go, just go, 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 go. I just kept on telling, run, run, just run. And then she got up, and then I just tried the guy, like, because it was fucking daddy, push him off, and you
Mm.
just holding his eye and just like groaning.
Right.
So I tried to make a run for it. I initially it was like I was trying to get up so I could just run,
Right.
but when I turned my head and was about to go, I there was another girl in the van.
A third one.
She was passed out, just her all the way in the back, and I was just staring at her, and then I heard the other friend, and then I felt him grab my foot.
Right.
So he was gonna yank me off, and I was just so scared for my wits. But the girl, the 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 one I the one who was nice to me before, she grabbed onto my arm and held me. I pulled and then grabbed onto the door, the frame, and just tried to pull, and it was kicking. And then I ran. I don't know what happened to the friend, but like me and her just started running,
Right.
and I don't want to look back. It's just I don't know that, but we just started running
Just getting away as
through
far as you
tall
can.
weeds.
Yeah. Just go. You know.
We ran through like really tall weeds.
Yeah.
Just normally, normally would never. I hate dirt. But even but at the time, like I wasn't even thinking about it. All I could think about was the girl.
Mm,
The, she was still there, and partly I felt really sick
right.
because she looked really young too. But I couldn't I
There's
couldn't go.
there's nothing you could do at that point.
But she was just a baby.
I know, I know. But at that point, you it's easy for me to say this, but it's not easy for anybody to say this. But the fact that you were able to get out and you got another person out of there is amazing in itself. As you eventually, how did you get home?
So when I don't know how we lost them, but we went through like the tall weeds. I don't know where we were. Neither did she. Like, and she was just like you know how when someone would be like popping in and out
Mm-hmm.
of like their eyes are like just glazed over,
Right.
and then just like walking on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like holding on to her mostly, and then we were like walking. Well, she was walking like by like and like initially when we were running, I didn't feel it, but then as we got, I started limping.
Right.
That was still really scared because I was like, what if they're after me? We mean
Well, of
we're
course.
just we were just on foot, and bad I've got a bad leg,
Right.
and they've got a vat. Like, what are they find us? But is this? I don't know where we are. I don't have anything on me except my keys.
But they didn't. They, as far as you know, they weren't. They weren't coming after you.
I don't know. Like when we kind of like because there's a road, there's a highway, right? But then it was really it was weird, but like we were kind of scared at that point to just like be on the road because I mean
Right. They
I
didn't. They,
didn't know if like the next car was gonna do the same thing.
well, at that point, I can't blame you for that. You you, you did eventually get some help. I mean, somebody found you. You got to somewhere.
We we managed to get to like a convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only one that was lit up. Um,
And this was
I
late.
went
This was
to
at night, late at night at this point, I imagine.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They, he was freaked out. Like he was just. I mean, I wouldn't blame him.
Right.
I I think when I stabbed the dude, like I mean, they were just they had him on me. Like there was just got a lot of
Stuff.
blood spurting. Just
Right. Right.
I just started calling my mom,
Right.
but she wasn't answering. And just called over and over, and then when he couldn't. I was just like telling him to please just please help us. Please just help us. And then just next thing I knew, just passed out. And
So,
then when I woke, I was just surrounded by nurses.
mm, so you got at least to emergency room anyway, ambulance anyway, probably.
I, apparently, that's what they said. Like the manager called called them and all, but actually, when I woke up, everyone just looked like him.
Yeah.
So we're just freaking out and wondering when to touch me. I was just yelling and
Well,
I felt
that's
a I felt something prick my neck and then just fell asleep again.
yeah, yeah. That was pretty obviously a sedative.
I don't know like when I woke up next, but like it was just they were just trying to like talk to me like, calmly. It's like, hey, you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think you are right now? Out of those things. And then the like I was answering her, but at the same time, just kept looking everywhere. Like it's like now that I've I've processed a few of it, it's like it's crazy, but like I was thinking like, okay, where are they? Like
Yeah.
you're like there's no way that like this is just some sort of like a blunder here.
Right.
Like I said, it was crazy.
No, it's not crazy. You just didn't know. So much had happened at that point. I mean, just to process that would be too much for anybody at that point. It,
I couldn't even like. It was just they just let like my therapist like come in. They gave me like a therapist, and now I'm starting to process through. But she was like the second person that I spoke with, and then they tried with them. Okay, so like we're gonna get your mom here first, okay,
yeah.
and then your sister in law. Then it was fine, and then they tried. Okay, so your brother's gonna come in here, all right?
Mm-hmm.
You just and then he came in, and you was so freaked out because all I could see is I didn't see my brother. Like, and then I just started yelling.
Well,
So I just, like, it took him like a while, like, to just say, like, hey, it's me.
I imagine any man at that point is going to be
Yeah,
first thing you see.
it took a little bit. And then I just started bawling and just started crying, and I was apologizing, and then I said, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to not come home. I didn't mean to. I was gonna come home. I don't have my stuff. I'm sorry." I just kept apologizing. I don't know where my stuff were. I'm sorry.
Well,
Like, I don't want him to get mad at me.
no. Well, I mean, people might think, well, what that's about. I mean, folks, listen to what happened before you think if you just jumped in at this point. But any type of reaction like that is, I would think, is is it's never normal, but I can imagine it happening. I mean, you've gone through so much at that point. You don't really know where you are. You don't really believe where you are. And what has just happened to you probably hadn't sunk in at all yet. You just reacted and went from that. Did you feel safe at that point?
When I was when I was hugging my mom, yeah, and and, and then my brother after a while. I did. Um, I don't know the other people. I mean, at the one point, I didn't even know who my therapist was at the time. I just knew that these people were strangers. And, like I don't know where this was. I mean,
Mm.
like after a time, like I knew this was like a hospital, but I was like, maybe it's I don't know. Watched. I don't. I didn't trust anything.
Well,
I didn't. I did, and like I was apologizing because like my part part of the reason why I mean I never really go out at all to begin with. It's because like I have a very like strict upbringing.
mm-hmm.
Like so and so strict that when I tell my friends about it, or even those who I grew up with,
Right.
they kind of think it's a little bizarre. So
Well, it's some people have different ways they were brought up. That's all there is to it.
yeah, so in my head, like all of this was just I was just still like afraid that they were also gonna get mad at me because I didn't have all of my stuff, or
Right.
because I didn't come home late, and then it was just and then the whole thing sort of like just sunk in, and then it was telling them like
Once the shock kind
that
of
someone
wore off
took
a little
me.
bit, yeah. The shock. I imagine it was shock kind of wearing off a little bit at that point. Reality kind of hitting you.
It felt like like when kind of cold water just like washes over yours and shit,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was kind of like asking them like, well, there's another girl who like came with me, like where is she, like did they take her someplace else,
Mm.
and I'm just like I was I think I think I think if I remember correctly, I was even like at one point saying like there was like a lot of people. I'm pretty sure like earlier like was surrounding me. What if they did something to her?
Right.
And then my brother had to clarify like no, those were nurses. And I just couldn't believe him. It's like no, there's another girl. Where is she? There's another one. Like she can tell you. I mean she can tell you what happened. We
Right.
were where we were, and I was just so I don't know. I was just so scared that they wouldn't believe me, or like that she had gone off somewhere and been taken away, and then
Or doubled back and got caught or something, and there's
eh,
it,
or
it,
like no, or and then I was asking was like and then the next thing I was like asking it was like after like was asking about her was that you might find me. Like he might find me. I did something. And he's upset. He's really mad. He was really mad. I was just so scared. It was just he might find me. What are we gonna do? And, it's like, and
yeah.
then my brother just
It's very what you're doing right now, talking about it, is amazingly courageous. So close to what happened. And again, if it's too much, we'll stop at any time, okay? But it's going to be almost impossible for people to empathize with what happened with you. But folks who have gone through traumatic experiences, victims such as you've been, yeah, need all of the support they could possibly get. Um, have you've talked with police? Have you after what happened?
It was mostly that was mostly my brother and like my uncle, and then he said like the other girl's family doing the talking,
Mm-hmm.
because when they went to like ask me what happened, I wasn't fully clear, so they had to try again the next day.
Right.
And when I was like telling them my part, it just it felt weird, like they didn't really take me seriously or something.
That's it.
But for some reason they were listening to my brother
Mm-hmm.
or like any other like male in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like,
That's unfortunate, but it's going to be very tough for anybody, I imagine, at this point, to earn your trust that you don't know right now. That's a guess, and I don't blame you for what in everything that's gone on. The other woman who was with you when you escaped, uh, do we know what's happened to her?
she I know she's like a the high school or senior high school,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't from where I was,
Mm-hmm.
like where she wasn't even from where I was uh, I was taken. She was like a long way out. So
Probably a minor. We don't want to mention too much about her background because of that. But um, did she get help?
I I I think yeah, I think so,
Okay.
because when the last time we kind of like saw each other was when I was like asking and about her, and then she was there, and then she was like in a different spot. Like she also just like a they I heard that, she was just like when she'd wake up she'd just keep crying and crying,
Mm-hmm.
and then so they had to
Sedate her.
she had to go sleep
Right.
a a lot of times. And then when they were taking me there, I also was like, actually, my mom and my sister-in-law had to like hold me while we were, because like I when they said, okay, well, we'll take you, just calm down. I don't want to go anywhere.
Right. Well, I mean, that's very understandable. Since then,
And
you did.
then yeah, like we just held each other, and I was just telling her, I'm sorry.
Well, let's see. I'm glad you both got out of it. Um, when you
There's
eventually,
another one there.
when yeah, I know. But if it weren't if it weren't for what you did First of all, you wouldn't have got out. Secondly, that girl you hugged in that room wouldn't have gotten out. And hopefully down the line, that other person was able to get out too. But it's what you've done is it's terrible that you were in that situation. What you were able to do to get out of it is amazing, even though it's never going to feel that way. Since you're back home, has it been tough to readapt to trying to get back to somewhat of a normal life?
So when we got out, when they said, I could go home, I didn't really want to ride in a car.
Mm.
I felt like I was suffocating. So it took some convincing.
Right.
And by the time I got home, I was really exhausted. I have all three of my dogs like here like all the time in my room, and I barely like step foot, like even like just like outside of the house.
Right.
And I've I don't like want to be alone like at all.
Mm-hmm.
But because my dogs sensed that, I don't know, maybe they sensed that something happened or that I was scared.
Right.
So for the first like couple days, especially in the first time I got home, they wouldn't let anybody come near me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially my brother.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I also didn't want to be alone. I was scared.
Right.
So, like, my brother was trying to figure out, like, what to do, and he re-downloaded like in this game that I was playing, and my iPad would love the deep space because there's a time there when they're just some of the guys would just like be there, and then sometimes they'll talk,
Right.
and then just so it'll kind of feel like there's someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's that's unfathomable for me. Um, it's I'm thinking that you don't really know at this point while you're trying to cope with trying to get some sort of normalcy back. You're not really
I've
knowing what's going to
Yeah.
trigger you and set everything back.
So many things that like trigger
Mm-hmm.
it, and I've it's very hard to kind of like go to sleep without seeing his face,
Mm-hmm.
and I've or seeing that girl's face,
Right.
which makes it even worse when I see her face and come to think of it, like I just get so,
Yeah. There's no words for it. There's no words for it.
and just like especially the first 2 days, I just can't shake the like feeling like I'm so dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Like like ants are constantly crawling over like my skin. And just I'd shower and then I'd get out of the shower,
Mm,
still feel I'd shower again.
right.
It just I've showered so many times. It's just not.
It's not going away.
No, it's not.
Mm,
And then I couldn't eat much either. Everything. I told a friend this like everything tastes like cardboard,
right.
and then I can't. Like I feel so tired and I want to go to sleep, but I'm scared to sleep
Right.
because I'll see his face,
Yeah.
and then I'll just start thinking. I'll just literally like the first time I went to sleep and then I woke up from it. I just huddled in the corner just with my dogs, holding holding my iPad and just was like, well, what if he heard me like screaming? It's so weird, but I know there's no fucking way that he could have heard me. But that was like, it could.
Hmm.
What if I was loud? He
Right.
was gonna find me. What if? And then some other like more fucked up thoughts started like thinking, like, going into my mind. Like, what if the reason why like I didn't like see like or hear him like come after us was because like he was actually like following us all along. What
Mm,
if he would like been following the entire time? What if he knows where I live? What if he knows where she lives? Like, what am I gonna do? What if I just endangered my family? I'm just
yeah. It's for someone who hasn't gone through something like this, and thankfully most haven't. It's hard to imagine what the mind will do in its attempt to heal, and it's trying to. It is you've been in such an impossible situation, and the time that it's going to take for you to get is not going to be next week. You know that people who maybe have interacted with you on the internet or otherwise probably aren't going to know that unless they're listening right now. Have you tried to get back on the internet since then? Um, Maybe try to, get something to escape a little bit.
so so on the way home. My brother did say that he told me like, maybe like his side of, during when I was gone.
Mhm.
When my mom asked him like, hey, she's not here yet, when are you gonna send her home? He told her, like, what do you mean? She left earlier, she was on her way home. And immediately they knew something was happening, because it's not it's I don't I don't just go off
Right,
like without telling anybody.
right.
It was
It isn't like you to not be
especially.
there on time, not be there where you're supposed to be. Or having gone through all this, you have, and everything that you've gone on that's gone through your mind, and all the tough times that you're having, still dealing with it. Why, why would you want to talk about it in this format? Why?
I, I can't stop seeing her. So like I I, I still have like a hard time sleeping. Like the only time like I've been actually been able to get like at least like restful sleep is when I I take a sleeping pill. They prescribe me one, and then I don't dream. I just fall asleep.
Hmm.
But in the times that I wasn't using them, if it wasn't his face, it was her face I was seeing.
Hmm.
When I'd see him, I'd be really scared.
Right.
But but like after a while, I'd calm down. But when I'd see her, and then I wake up, I can't stop hating myself. I mean, yeah, like I said, she my therapist, she everybody that I've at least told what happened keeps saying that there's nothing you could have done.
Right.
You you could you couldn't have. You shouldn't blame yourself. Yeah, because see, like I said, like she was so young. She is I don't know. She I was the oldest in there at the very least. Like with her, what if I can't stop thinking that? What if that moment I was supposed I was supposed to get her, like that that was her chance. That was her only chance. And instead of trying, I left.
That's
Is there me apart from like I feel
yeah. Yeah.
like I feel dirty when I see you, but I feel like I hate myself so much.
Yeah. I
Like I don't know what happened to her, but the worst game. I'm part of the reason why.
I wish I could give you the words that would solve this for you, but I know it wouldn't do much good. It's gonna take it's gonna take a lot of work, and I, all I can do is stand behind you and applaud the directions you're going, and hopefully people will hear this and think more about their surroundings, what's going on when they're out on their own. Think about what they'll do in that situation.
I couldn't even. I, I keep wondering how she is. If if she managed to, or did they or or like or like they found another one to replace. That's also another thing that was kind of going through my mind. Like,
Yeah.
what if,
You're turning on yourself,
oh, what
and
if,
and that's it.
what if, because I left, what if, what, what if, because they escaped, they found another one to replace me.
Oh my, Roga. I wish I could. If I say if I say the words I want to say, it's just going to be everything everybody else has already told you. And it's a case. I'm guessing that you know probably better than what you're feeling, but it doesn't change the feeling.
I couldn't, like, whenever, whenever I felt like really sad or really down or just really angry. Just whatever it is that I'm feeling. It was ever since I was like a child. I'd be able to say it.
Mm,
I'd I'd say it out. Just say for hours until I felt better.
right,
But like up until when did I? When I came back and then a few days after that, I couldn't I couldn't I couldn't speak
right,
like loudly. Like I and it got even worse because by the day I came back, something triggered me, but I don't really want to
right.
talk about it. But
Don't have to.
yeah, I ended up yelling, but and then even I turned into myself even more, and I didn't want to. Keeping quiet was just became like what I had to, what I had to do. Like it was,
Right,
let's
but
say, just it, like it would put me inside that van all over again, and I was just scared that he'll hear me. So when I tried to sing, I I couldn't, and it hurt me even more because I never claimed I was a fucking great singer, but I mean, I don't- I could hold some notes at the very least, but I enjoyed singing, and then I couldn't do it, and it was what made me feel better,
yeah,
and I couldn't,
that was taken away from you. I do
and I
know
just kept trying, and it hurt.
you. Not that long ago, from this when we're talking, you got back on a stream, kind of unannounced, almost, and you did sing. I was there and heard it. Anybody who could hear it could hear the pain. But you did sing. You took that big step in that direction, and I know you're posted about it. You said, "I'm not going to let him take that away from me." You still feel that way?
It felt really good to be able to sing. It it felt weird when I started.
Hmm.
It felt like it wasn't my voice.
Right.
So I couldn't. And then after like a while,
You're only going to go about 15 minutes, maybe a little longer. I listen. My coworkers listen. I was at work at the time. Um, don't give that up. It's
all those songs were just really. I mean, I said it like I. It was for it was for people who. It was for my family who looked for me,
mm-hmm.
for my friends who joined in, for those that got really worried, and then for for the people that I hurt. The people that the people that couldn't accept me afterward, and but mostly, especially the last one.
Yeah.
It was kind of like I felt like it was like I was hoping that in some way, I don't know, like I don't know where she was or if I should be talking to her in past tense or in present tense. But the last song was like an apology and that that it couldn't that I left her and also that I'm probably never gonna forget about her.
One of the most unfortunate things is that this happens to people, and people who are living in areas where it doesn't happen very often. Doesn't they don't think it affects them, but it could very easily affect you. Um, do you have anything to say for those folks who want to prevent it happening to them in the future?
Um so if if I if I ever kind of like go out in the future, I'm probably like for one thing, I love like I said, I love listening to like music even when I'm like going out. So that's partly probably why I didn't hear them coming. So I'm not telling them not to like listen to it anymore, but maybe just be more aware of where you're going,
Mhm.
of what's happening, or maybe if you can, like just keep one ear like open so you'll see, and then if it's as much as possible, don't go anywhere don't go anywhere alone.
Mhm.
I mean, it's nothing about like saying like, oh, you're independent or whatever. It's nothing about that. I I just feel like it's easier to kind of get away or prevent it when you have help, when there's two of you instead of just you. And I'm not telling everybody to kind of this is not sponsored or anything. God, I wish,
Mhm.
but, but I'm not. I'm not telling anyone to kind of like buy a Buster Sword keychain or whatever. But make keep something on you, not even if if it's your bag or whatever. But like something that you can have, eh, so that you can use in the event that something happens. Not because don't come at it with like with you kind of like expecting that this is good what's gonna happen moving forward. No, but come like look at it in a way that I'm pretty sure that there's still like probably like a lot of good people out there, maybe,
Mhm.
and this is very the likelihood of. I mean, at the time, I thought it was never going to happen to me,
Right.
but it did. So you come at it with the thinking that it probably won't happen, but if it does, I'm prepared. You know,
Yeah.
and like maybe I don't know something like maybe a tracker. I didn't have that. I something to kind of like I don't know ping your location or whatever. So like your parents or someone, but
Someone will know where you
um
are. Yeah.
or and then uh, like there was this was like suggested by my mom, but like she said she said she has this like habit of like putting like even like little bills like maybe like 20 or something just like everywhere, like in like any pocket that you can just squeeze in there or
Right.
whatever. But what she was kind of like expecting was if you got robbed or whatever.
Hmm.
But basically she said she was making it in like keep something like a little bit of like money on you,
Right.
so you can go home.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and like when me and her stop. Okay, I almost said her name.
Ah.
When me and the girl uh were we got away, the only thing that was kind of like going through my mind was the one I left behind, the guy who was following me, but mostly it was, am I ever gonna see my family again? Am I gonna see my dogs again? Am I gonna be able to speak with all of my friends?
Mm.
Am I ever gonna do that? And if he really was like coming after me or coming to see me, coming to like get me,
Right.
like I was just, I've never been religious, but I was just like, God, please, please, if not, like, if it's not, if you can't give me, if you can't give me this, if this is it, if this is it for me, like, I just want like a few minutes,
Mm.
even just a few seconds.
Right.
I just, I just wanna tell him goodbye, because
Right.
I never got to with my dad. I
Yeah.
never got to with my grandpa. And when I so there's like a lot of chances of regret that there was some chances that I never took, and I've got regret that I never got to like tell them that I love them
Right.
before they left, and I'll never get to do that now.
Right.
And that was just what was going on with me. Like even when I got sick and I didn't know something, I didn't know if I was gonna live past it
Right.
after the surgery. Like I wrote letters. Even it was so like in hindsight, it's fucked up because I even was like, hey, I mean, I'm expecting to kind of like wake up from this around this date, and
Right.
if I don't, if you don't hear anything from me around this date, can you send this off to like everybody?
Right.
So, um, so I actually really didn't at the time. So when my friends all got their letters, a few of them admitted they were really freaked out, like it was like a letter from the dead.
Right.
So in hindsight, probably not the best idea,
Well,
but
that
make sure to
it gives you an
yeah,
idea of what you're coming from, though. It, yeah, it really does.
yeah. So just I'm not saying you should expect to like die all over it.
Right.
Just make sure you tell the ones you love them, because you never really, if even if this wasn't the thing, you know,
Yeah.
like you can't ever expect that tomorrow is gonna come for you if you're gonna live to see another day, even if you're so much so it's just like you're walking like from the bathroom or wherever.
Yeah.
Like it's it's exaggerating, but you know,
Exactly.
like
You know,
don't don't expect it like that. Like especially when you're like leaving or
don't
going somewhere.
don't take it for granted.
Just yeah, you know, like make sure to tell the people that you appreciate them. And make sure to always tell them thank you. Make sure to tell the people that you love or the people that you think you kind of owe some words to, or you had some things to say. Make sure to just get it all sorted. Make sure to say that, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed.
Obviously, what Rogue has gone through, no one should have to go through. I'm sure after listening to what happened to her in her own words, you agree with me that Rogue is a tremendously courageous person who has come forward to tell what happened to her. Still has a long road to go to get herself back to where she was before, if she can. And I hope you join with me in wishing her the best and support her as she tries to regain the life before what happened to Rogue.